So hello and welcome to the channel, welcome to another Assetto Corsa Competizione video. We're here at the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. Obviously you can see the race just beginning, an online race. I've been taking part in a few races trying to get this Ferrari up to speed, and it's been a long time since I've done a video. I've kind of been umming and ahhing as to what to do next, and I guess with the launch of the Nordschleife in just a couple of days now on Xbox, there's probably going to be a lot of guys I'm used to racing with, trying to find the setups to take part in races online, I guess. Now, I've got to be honest, I've seen a number of guys in online lobbies setting kind of like 8-minute 12 laps, especially in the BMW. The BMW seems to fare really well, as does the Lamborghini Huracan, the Evo. I guess the Ferrari, I've not seen anybody set a faster lap than an 8:12 with the BOP. I think it's running 14 kilograms at the minute. But I just thought I would kind of share where to sort of be looking to make changes with your setups. Obviously the cars run a little bit higher here at the Nordschleife. I think there's a height restriction of 70 millimeters, so the front end's much higher than normal. But this is evident in the fact that I think there's quite a bit of downforce missing from all the cars, obviously. But when you start to set a car up here at the Nürburgring, there's a lot of compromises that you need to think about. Obviously there's a lot of people running the maximum bump stop range just so that you can handle all these really high curbs. Obviously you're not really wanting to hit any of these high curbs, but the biggest issue is coming over crests like you can see here, going through these really fast sort of right-handers. You're looking for lots of compliance from the front of the car, and especially a lot of these at the end of this long straight here, you've got a section where you're literally flat out, but you're still wanting to turn the car over the crest, and this is where the rake of the car has a huge effect. Obviously you're flat out through this corner, just see this other guy run a little bit wide, and we're going to jump on board for one of the laps during this race just to show you how hard I'm pushing the car. And I really am struggling to find where these guys are hitting a sub 8-minute 10 lap. I guess there's only so much you can do with the skill that you've got, and at some point or another it's just a very good lap, or the drivers are just really good. But when you look at doing your setups, personally I would run as much rear wing as you can. Find a good balance in the car with the amount of rake you've got. Most cars you're probably going to run half as much. You're not going to run anything on the front. The front's going to be as low as you can get it because it's already 70 millimeters off the ground. But the rear of the car, you're probably looking at around 80. Say the front's 70, the front wants to be 90 or thereabouts. It's normally 20 millimeters difference. But for me, I just think running more rear wing is brilliant when you're trying to set a qualifying lap. But in the race, there are so few places to overtake on this circuit, you can find yourself just waiting for the long straights. Obviously there are a lot of corners, and don't get me wrong, there is a lot of guys making big mistakes in these races, just because you really are pushing for such a long lap and you are trying to get as fast as you can. And there's guys that you come across that are going so slow in certain areas, you're just wondering, are they obviously new to the game, are they learning the circuit, is this their pace? I think if you're hitting a 8-minute 15 lap, you're doing well. You are pushing hard for the whole lap. There is a special event actually at the minute in one of the Porsche Cup cars, and I don't know how the guys are setting 8-minute 14 laps. Especially in these cars that have got no traction control, there's just no adjustment to the car. So especially guys like Luke Whitehead, I'd just take my hat off to him. It must be a driving genius. I think I managed at 8:30 in the same car. As soon as I got in it to start doing the setup, I thought there's literally nothing to change on the setup. It's literally just skill, and really is just pure driving skill. But yeah, let's come on board for a lap. You can see one of the laps. And then we'll quickly have a look over this setup that I'm using. So we'll come on board, bring up the results, the hood, but obviously I've got all this stuff on the left hand side as well. So braking just after this the board on the right hand side, all the way down to first gear, swinging the car wide. Just remember on the start laps, don't go into doing the full course, just do the normal Nürburgring lap, and you come round and then set your qualifying lap. Don't try doing the full lap around the whole circuit. I still see guys doing that. Just do the short GP circuit and then start the full lap. So subtle adjustments here and there. I think I'm running traction control 8 and traction control 1. So on most of the exits or the corners I'll be swapping to traction control 1. A little lift through here, then back on the power. I'm sure we've all run a number of laps doing these. Braking at the 100-yard board. Get the car nice and straight. Early on the power, get the car to rotate under acceleration. I'm not going to name any of these corners. Braking between the 100-yard board, down to third gear, avoid that big sausage curb on the inside, down to first gear, get on the power early. Some people chuck the car to the right a little bit, down to first gear, and then it all starts from here really. Really bouncy section through here. Just really committed through there, flat on the power. Little bit of brake, down one gear, down another gear. Just riding the brake really. Lots of opposite lock. Very scary moment. Try and get the composure back. It's all about commitment through this corner now. A little bit of lift on the entry and then back on the power. Just riding the accelerator here. Flat out through here. Braking at the end of the curbs. The car does just squirm around a little bit. I'd definitely drop down to second gear, much more acceleration on the exit. Again, just absolutely maxing out the gears. Back to TC8, just a little stab of brake, back on the power, and then slowing the car down, third gear, second gear, really tight apex. A little squeeze of the accelerator, then lift off and then squeeze again on the power. Now just stay in fourth gear through here, have a little lift in the car, just have a little bit of a sort of over rotation on lift off oversteer. So just be gentle on the coming off the throttle. Back on the power, using all that circuit. Trying to be flat out all the way through here. Touch a brake pedal down to third gear so the car hugs in. Back on the power, braking in a straight line. A little bit off the brake pedal, then back on the brake pedal down to first gear. Really hugging this inside curb. going to brake at the curb on the right hand side, down to second gear, then back on the power, up to third, down to second, trying to get a good exit, kind of off camber as you come through there. Looking for the brake marker on the right hand side, this board just on the right hand side, down to second again, trying to get acceleration on the off camber. And just hugging this left hand side now as we come through these section of it's like a triple left hander, and then just letting the car run out a little bit wide. Another overtaking spot, but you really do need to be carrying some speed more than the other guy. I've had a number of accidents trying to overtake up this section. Just a little lift off through here and then back on the power, totally committed, full on the power again as we come up through this section, braking at the curb on the left hand side, down to second gear, on the power, then TC1, get that exit, back to TC8, braking at the mark on the tarmac, always try and stay left as close to the curb as you can through there, just so much more grip. Flat on the power, little lift through here just at the curb, into third gear, then back on the power, into second gear, hugging this inside curb, back on the power again. I generally try to stay in third gear through here because it just unsettles the car under braking if you go into fourth. Try and stay in third gear again, just running too wide, which is totally cancels out my lap, that little section there. Again, another section where you can run wide and cancel the lap. Into second gear for the exit. Braking just at the yellow marker on the tarmac. Back on the power, you can use some of that curb. Another scary section through here, just whether you've got the car set up, whether you're high enough off the ground for it not to bottom out. Loads of times I've run wide through there, through the car bottoming out. And then it's just committed through here, flat on the power. Another scary braking moment, down to fourth gear, trying to carry as much power through here as you can. Third gear, then second gear. Really do struggle with this section. Really been trying to work on getting this section nailed. And again through here, trying to carry as much speed as possible because it's all going to carry down along this back straight. Hopefully going underneath this board you want to be looking at a 725. I kind of know I'm on a good lap if I'm going through there at that kind of lap time. And then here you're really wanting to do your overtaking, so this is the scary part for me, whether you decide to run lower wing and have an opportunity to overtake along this back straight. But I think the lap is better. There's a horrible bump just through here as well, so you need to not be braking for a split second. And across the line for an 8.13. So we'll just quit that there and we'll just quickly have a look at the setup that I'm using. There's loads of setups online. There really is. And I think it's come to that point where I think just doing setups all the time they're just so easy to find online, and some of them work for me, some of them don't. But I think all the ones that are doing like an 8 minute 10, I'm just not as fast as them guys. I need to just come to terms with that. Current setup, let's load this setup. So this is the one that I'm using, an 813. I'll quickly just fly through it because the main point really is this page. You could lower this. I've seen some people with it all the way down at 0, but for me the car's just too unstable sometimes. Again, you could run these all absolutely maximum, front and rear. I've seen that, but it just feels like it just doesn't give me the same confidence in the car. It just doesn't feel as predictable. It just feels a bit wallowy, if you know what I mean. Again, just running the normal meta setup. And then this page really is where it all happens. These two settings here, you could sort of run something like this. I think 6 or 8 I've run it on, something like that. And it feels pretty good, to be honest. But you've just not got that same level of confidence. But you can do some overtaking on the faster sections. And you're still setting maybe an 8:15 lap. It just gives you options for overtaking. Whereas absolutely maxed out on the downforce, it just doesn't give you the options to overtake in the faster sections, the long straights. But at the same time, you've got loads more confidence through the corners. So they're the setups. Yeah, that's the setup. That's the same setup that I was running on the low downforce one. The only change is in the rake of the car, really. We'll just have a quick look. I'm sure this was a nasty crash at turn 1. So this is the one then coming into turn 1. You see the guy just on the grass, just comes all the way across, and he's just a passenger as much as I'm a passenger, to be honest. If it's going to go wrong, it generally goes wrong at turn 1. And you'll even see as we're trying to rejoin, luckily not to get twatted again, to be honest. I come around this corner and there's all hell's broken loose. There's so many people come together. It's just a sea of cars. I mean, we'll come on board for this accident. So coming down to turn 1, obviously got a very poor start. You see the guy coming across in the rear view mirror. I just didn't know what to do, to be honest. Just thought, great. And it's actually quite funny because I thought, I'll see how the car feels. I've had a massive side swipe. And then there's just all this carnage up ahead. And I do actually carry on to actually start setting a lap. I think I actually come 3rd in this race. But surprisingly enough, even after that first corner incident, I only had 16 seconds worth of damage. I couldn't believe it, and the car felt just as good as normal. I didn't really I think it was just more like a side swipe, and the door got damaged. That was the only issue. But I'll leave the video there. One thing I have noticed on the replays though is just how quiet the car is, the main car. Obviously you can hear so many other cars on the circuit, you can barely hear your own car on a replay, so maybe they need to look at that. I'll quickly just come out actually so that you can see. Hopefully this comes to Xbox. We'll just come to the special events page, and you can see they've actually just this last couple of weeks they added these 3 events at the top here, so we can actually do some events. I think it was this one I started to take part in last night. And these guys at the top here, unbelievable laps. I think if anything, I had another second, maybe 2 seconds on this lap. But I just wanted to break into the top 100, to be honest, because running with no traction control or anything, it's so hard. But yeah, at least there's a couple of special events. Fingers crossed they come to Xbox. But yeah, thanks for watching. I know it's been a long time since the last video. Obviously, I don't really earn a living from doing YouTube videos. I need to go out there and do a normal job. So I just do these videos as and when I get a chance. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you found a little bit of content useful. And until next time, ciao for now.